control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose to masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Sorry, I was on mute. All right, so today we're going to be doing a little internet recap because I have been away from the internet for over 2 weeks, I think, at this point. So I had to go and check back. Can you guys hear me yet? All right, so I had to go and check back everything that I missed while I was offline, and there's been a lot going on. Okay, first of all, I am not wearing any makeup today, so I need to use the red light because I did a huge peel around my eyes, on spots, everything. So it's like a big, it was like a big mess. But anyways, so we'll talk about everything. All right. So the first thing that I found out while I was doing my little research on what I've missed was that apparently liking boobs is wrong. Like, have you guys seen this? Like, liking boobs makes you a Nazi or something. It's a really weird thing. So like, I don't know what to think about it. I feel like I don't know. I just don't know what I think about it. Like, what do you guys think? You think that it really matters? So here we go. This chick did a little ad. How do I get on the screen? I guess I can't. No. Anyway, so this chick did a little ad on jeans, and she did, like, sexy stuff, and she has big boobs, and that makes people call her a Nazi because apparently if you're blonde, blue eyes, and attractive, you must be a Nazi. So these are the new requirements that you need to apparently be labeled as that. So that's really interesting. And like, it's okay if you are of the other side and you are blonde and blue eyes, but like, I mean, I don't even know, is she even MAGA? I don't even think she's Republican. I don't know anything about her, like, to be honest. But I mean, how is she? I don't know. The world is extremely crazy. So I don't know if this is a psyop to distract us from something, because it usually is, or if people are legitimately upset about this stuff. Seems nuts to me. Okay, I do remember, like, a couple weeks ago there was that talk about her being mid, which is ridiculous. She's not mid, you guys. She's not mid. She's not 90s high fashion model, Victoria's Secret model, status, but she has that cute girl next door, curvy girl look, like Scarlett Johansson did, right? Like one of those. I consider her like the same. People still find her attractive. It is what it is. And yes, he's going to see everything peel for the next 3 weeks. It's going to get crusty and hard. First it gets shiny, and then crusty and hard and wrinkly, and then it starts flaking off. So that's going to be fun. All right. So now look, as a former flat-chested brown girl, I find her boobs very enjoyable. Now, I wouldn't want them because back problems, but there's no big deal. And I don't know if you guys have seen the original. So let's play a little clip of the original that ad copied.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
All right. So, I mean, isn't that just like how the world works? Everything is like survival of the fittest. Everything is like who picks you to mate with, who gets picked, who doesn't get picked. And most people don't get picked anymore. So, I mean, it is what it is. Oh my God. I am not going to the gym to compensate for huge knockers. No thanks. And Brooke Shields was 14 or something when she did that ad. So, like, I feel like that should be more of an outrage. Isn't Sydney like in her 20s? Who cares? Will do. Alrighty. So, next thing I want to talk about is how Beaten Cheeks is back on X after getting kicked off and banned multiple times. Somehow, our little friend of the show has gotten them to reinstate his account. I don't know how, but there he goes again. And you can find him at Beaten Cheeks _ and you can his profile description is veteran, false allegation speaker, bring shame and bullying back, uncircumcised and diseased free. All right, so everybody make sure you add Cheeks, and we will be taking a poll in the Discord for how long we think he's going to remain unbanned. So he has so far surpassed 12 days without getting banned. So like I did not think it would be possible, but there we go. And he has tried. Trust me, he's trying. But so far he's still there. So 12 days going strong. Make sure you add him and make sure you head to the Discord and let everybody know how long you think he's going to last, because I don't know. If somebody has a Discord link, please post it. Actually, I think only Believe can post it, but whatever. I'll post it at the end. All right. Also, our friend of the show, Jake Farr of Project VO podcast, reunites with Destiny for another debate. I missed it live. I can't find it online, but if anyone has seen it, please send it to me in the Discord, and on a separate show, we will go over it. But we're proud of our little racist Mexican, and we hope he did well. So also last night, I did pop on Just Pearly Things to talk about my time working at an AIDS clinic. I still have stories for days that I did not share. I mean, crazy stuff. But be sure to check it out. It will be the second half of last night's show on her channel, Just Pearly Things. As usual, I managed to make a fool of myself. I did have like a list prepared of everything I was going to say. And then like, she said something about like it's 7 to 9 or something like that. She didn't start until after 9. So I was like, whatever, I closed everything. And then she's like, get on now. And I'm like, and then I saw her on the channel, like saying, where is she? And I'm like, oh crap. And I didn't have time to go find my list of stuff that I was going to talk about. So I had to like wing it. And we all know I can't do that. So not good, but we'll see if she invites me back. I don't know. Anyways, so check that out. It's the second half. I did actually create a list, and I feel like I went through the trouble to create this stuff, so I should share it with you guys because it is valuable information. Yes, this is true. Thank you. We're going to talk about how you can be active schmedually, and like, let's rank the likelihood of catching something. All right. So this is from my list, the lowest or minimal risk of getting anything. And let's talk about the criteria. Criteria would be like high risk, high likelihood of something fatal, incurable, or chronic infections, right? That's high risk. Moderate risk is going to be something curable, but like a serious infection. And low risk, it's going to be something minimal risk, but still possible for mild or non-fatal infections. And then very low risk is going to be extremely rare theoretical transmission cases, right? All right, so if you are non-immunocompromised, most people in this country have autoimmune by the time they're like 30. So for those of you who still do not have one of those lovely things, this is for you. Very low risk, minimal or no known transmission. Mutual, you know what? That's okay. Dry kissing, that means a closed mouth. No saliva is allowed. And then you have French kissing. There's some saliva. That's some risk. You're taking a risk. And then we're going to skin contact, like hugging, hand holding, cuddling, non-intimate things like that. There's still risk for that. You could get HPV, warts, MRSA, scabies, ringworm. I mean, these things, the HPVs, I don't think you can get rid of that. Your body has to get rid of that. And sometimes it just goes latent. But the other ones, like, you can get rid of those. But do we really want that? No, I don't think so. All right, so low risk activities you guys can do. Low risk for STI or parasite transmission would be mutual stuff with skin-to-skin contact, no fluid shared. So there's still risk for some HPV, scabies, other things like that. Then you have the oral or with condom, right? This is for straight people. I'm not doing the other ones. Then you have oral for a chick, on a chick with a dental dam. Low risk, but still risk for HSV1, HPV, syphilis, unfortunately. And then for you weirdos, those rim job things, but with a dental dam. And I don't know why you're into that, but if you are, good luck to you. And then, okay, let's see. Now, this is low risk, so you can still get intestinal parasites, giardia, whatever, big words I can't say, but parasites, hepatitis A, bacteria like E. coli. So it's not fun. Then you got your moderate risk, and that is any hand to genital contact. Hand jobs without gloves. So this is when you're getting crazy. There's no gloves, there's no dental dams, there's no condoms. This is the crazy stuff. This is a risk. Then you got your oral without condoms and dental dams, risk. You got, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say these things. All right. And then along the lines of that, like the oral stuff without protection, barriers and stuff like that, then you have regular old vaginal, but with a condom. It's still moderate risk. And then, oof, now we got high risk. Banging without a condom. Please don't do that. You could get HIV, HPV, HSV, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, trichomosis, and a whole bunch of bacterial infections, plus lots of fun parasites and skin issues. Skin parasites, blah, blah, blah. Mites, blah, blah, blah. And then if you're into rear stuff without any condoms, you're insane. Super high risk, almost guaranteed. Very, very, very high risk of rectal tearing. Then we have anything that has to do with an open wound. So if anybody has an open wound anywhere, even if you're not doing anything high risk, now it's high risk because somebody has an open wound. And then the highest risk is for those weirdos that do things with the animals. We don't want to talk about that, but people are crazy, and there's so many zoonotic infections that we don't even want to go there. And that's probably how a lot of the stuff that is in like transmitted between humans started. So just don't be in the streets, you guys. It's very, very bad out there. Alrighty. Let's see. So today's going to be a pretty short episode because I do have family in town, and Damon's throat was hurting or something. He lost his voice. So I told him to go to sleep. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. So let's see. Then I did hear online that Tulsi Gabbard said somewhere to someone allegedly that Operation Mockingbird never ended, and it's still in full swing. Anyone who doesn't know what Project Mockingbird is, I think we should talk about it a little bit because it's very interesting, and it's also kind of suspicious how every time you look it up, it's like allegedly conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Even like the AIs and stuff like that will tell you that. So they say it was only in the 1940s to the 1970s, allegedly, but we already know it was. We already know that that's how that almost all the movies that became famous were funded by government CIA money. So they're trying to control the people through the media. I mean, it's kind of weird that we're even like wondering if this is real. Of course it's real. It would be silly not to. Of course, if you have millions and millions and millions of cattle, you want to control them. And the only way to control them is with culture. You put them in public schools and you have like strict curriculum, make them smart enough to do like menial labor type jobs, make them dumb enough to get into debt forever, and make them good little workers, and then make them fade away into the sunset as quickly as possible so you get a brand new crop of young ones to do all your labor for you. Make sure there's no wealth transfers. Make sure, I mean, we already know like this is the same stuff what we've heard a million times. Anyways, Operation Mockingbird, CIA program to influence the US and international media. Remember, America was known for their media. We controlled the narrative for the entire world because everybody was watching American media. It was translated in like every single country all over the world. People in like very strict religious Muslim countries would see American kids being promiscuous on their prom nights, and they'd want to do that, whatever, like all of this stuff. And they thought like all these things were real. And we were shown this over and over and over. And we all know after you show someone something multiple times, people start to accept it and think this is normal. So that's when people started changing their behaviors to match the narrative. So let's see. Journalist recruitment. The CIA reportedly cultivated relationships with journalists from outlets like the New York Times, CBS journalists, allegedly planted pro-US stories or shared intelligence, often motivated by I can't even say the word, ideologies, or of course, just cold hard cash. Anything you want me to say, just pay me, right? Media outlet influenced CIA supported the Washington Post expansion, acquiring the Times and the Herald, and amplified the influence of it, and coordinated a journalist network. So basically, they have their little hands in all the media and the newspapers, all the news outlets. So they kind of like say, okay, say this, and we have seen the clips already. I don't need to show you guys the clips where you'll see people saying the same thing, the exact same script across multiple news outlets all at once in unison. And we already know this. They do this, of course. Yet still people, mainly boomers, will still watch the news thinking that they're getting news. You're just getting propaganda. You're just getting influenced. And the worst thing is, people think I'm smart enough to not fall for it. But the reality is, we all fall for it every single day. We fall for it on the left. We fall for it on the right. We fall for it when we go, we don't want to get involved. It's like one bird, you know, two wings of the same bird, blah, 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 right? But we still fall for it because the fact is, if you keep showing people things, they start to believe this is the reality. And that's how they manipulate us, and now how they separate us. Cultural manipulation, they made that Animal Farm film produced in Britain to obscure the US involvement, emphasizing anti-communist themes while softening critiques of capitalism. So now it's like they're doing the opposite. It's just whatever is useful at the time is what they're going to do. And then, of course, there was like front organizations. And we already have heard about so many front organizations that are just funneling money to specific media outlets and, of course, internet personalities in the present day to get them to say certain things. Because when you think about it, like a lot of these people that became like the big internet celebrities, they kind of came out of nowhere. And it was kind of like, okay, they have a talent for talking, right? And getting attention. That way they're kind of interesting, or maybe like they're quick, like the Destiny types they're quick speaking. But then they probably would have just faded away. But then once you give them money, now they have the funds to continue to do this type of talk. And then you can manipulate what they're going to talk about and make them say the most craziest things. Now, when you make people say really, really crazy things, then it's going to get eyeballs on them, right? And not only that, then it's going to shape culture. So we're talking about like the same things, like all the things, the making fun of liberal women, making fun of like conservative men, making fun of like everybody. Like that is to divide us, and that is so they can separate us and control us. Because while they are dividing us, making gender wars, race wars, culture wars, everything, now they're able to have us fight amongst each other so that they can continue to roll out underneath in these huge bills all of these things that take away what little rights that we have left. And eventually it's going to get to the point where they don't need to control the media anymore, because they will be the media. And if you say anything they don't like, anything against them, they can just cut your ties to everything. And then if anyone wants to associate with you, they'll get their ties cut, opportunities taken away, money taken away, banking opportunities taken away, money taken, like everything can be taken away from you. Now they're trying to, I believe this was in the UK. Actually, I sent it to Damon and I'm like, is this true? Is this happening? So like, I forgot the video. So let me go and see if I could find it and play it. I think this was on Instagrams. Okay. Let's see what this dude says.
About to see the mainstream media start talking about the data law that sets up digital control in Britain. You heard it from me first back in November. You heard it again from me in February and April as this bill went through Parliament. Well, the Data Use and Access Bill is now the data. You are about to see the mainstream media start talking about the data law that sets up digital control in Britain. You heard it from me first back in November. You heard it again from me in February and April as this bill went through Parliament. Well, the Data Use and Access Bill is now the Data Use and Access Act 2025. It's now law. That's right. The UK just passed a law that quietly sets up the infrastructure for digital ID, Bitcoin, and total control over your data, money, and movement. Here's what you need to know. The Data Use and Access Act 2025 just became law. It doesn't look like much, but this is the legal backbone for the digital control grid already being built around you. I would suggest you pay attention to this and maybe share it. Let me explain. This new law forces companies to share your personal and business data with you or anyone you authorize, creates digital verification services, government-backed registries to confirm your identity online. And let me just confirm what authorization will be. Anytime you get a T&C to use a product, Samsung, Google, Microsoft, anything, and you agree to it to use their services, you agree to share your data. That's right, lefties, no more hiding behind fake usernames and profile pictures. Sets up interface systems and dashboards that third parties can plug into, whether that's apps, banks, or future government portals. Now combine that with what's already in motion. The Bank of England is developing the digital pound, or Bitcoin, a central bank digital currency, fully programmable, trackable, and issued directly from the state. Then there's Labour's new proposed BRIC card, a proposed digital ID and payment card all in one for benefits, travel, health, and possibly your money. And what this new law does is lay the pipes, the digital plumbing. It connects your data to your ID to your wallet, and your wallet to a system the state can control. Because today it's for innovation. Tomorrow it could decide what you're allowed to buy, where your money can be spent, or even whether you can travel. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how digital control is built. Quietly, legally, in stages, in the background, with no one in the mainstream media talking about it. And now the foundation is in place. So don't be fooled by the language of data empowerment. This is about setting up a centralized state-linked digital ecosystem where everything you do is logged, linked, and potentially controlled. It's actually not conspiracy anymore. It's legislation. It's law. Because this isn't about privacy, it's about power. If you don't push back now, you'll wake up one day and realize it's already too late. I think we've already passed that mark. It's now gone to Royal Ascension. It's purple. It's done.
All right, so it already happened there, and it seems like it might be happening here sooner than we'd like to think. So while everybody is looking at Sydney Sweeney's pubes and worrying about all this, you know, the race wars and the gender wars and the culture wars and the party wars on the internet, that is what they're doing in the background. So it is our job to stay on top of everything, run every bill through like a unregistered with government AI. I would say stay away from ChatGPT and Grok and find yourself an alternative AI that has nothing to do with the US and run every bill you can through there and see if you find anything nefarious that they are slipping in. And then I need you guys to pay attention to local elections and what they are trying to do locally, because that is where we can make the most change, is locally in our own communities. So you guys don't have much time. I know it's fun to stay behind the internet and be anonymous and just to roll, but if you don't want that to happen here, we gotta wake up and be on top of it and not just read the headlines, get raged, and make commentary on it. Anyways, so back to Operation Mockingbird. So this included wiretapping. So now it's like super easy. There's backdoors in every cell phone, every internet connection, Wi-Fi. I mean, they could see every keystroke. It's not very difficult. There's really no hiding. Also, they have access now, I don't know if you guys have heard this, to all the Ring camera footage that includes the audio without a warrant at any time. So anything you say, and I don't know how far, but I believe they have some sort of ability to enhance audio and video. So if you're walking in front of somebody's house talking some shit, and now they're going to be able to have that, and they can use that to decide if you are worthy of getting money, I don't know, healthcare, whatever it is. This is where it could end up. So please be careful, guys. I know it's so fun to talk smack while you're walking around. I know, like, the urge is always there, but you can't be doing it. And do not go in Discords and make very controversial statements, because if this stuff happens and it looks like nobody's doing anything to stop it, you are going to be in some sort of concentration camp to re-educate you, or maybe they'll just take your organs. I don't know. Like, allegedly. What do I know? So, let's see. What are some things that you guys think that they're currently doing now? Like, this is just my idea. This is just out of what I think. I definitely think the gender wars are part of this. I think they don't want people to unite, so they have to, because I think they're really scared because they're about to like lay down the hammer on some real crazy control systems. And they're trying to do it as quickly as possible. So that's why you see all of this crazy news, like the whole like crazy woke stuff taking over, like I'm awakened or whatever, that language. Now it became like I'm super liberal, or I have blue hair and I'm okay with like all this weird stuff. Before it was that if you said you were awake or woke, it was just like, I just know what the government's doing. And now, or like, I know about like all these conspiracy theories. And then it became inverted to like, I'm a part of this super controlled establishment that pretends to be anti-establishment, which is insane. All right. So everybody needs to be careful about falling for this stuff. I know you guys, like, I'm really skeptical about the whole like racism thing going online. I feel like there's two camps. There's a super woke, I hate men and the patriarchy and all men are evil and must go extinct. That is being fed to all the women. And then I feel like the racist, anti-woke, anti-liberal type of propaganda is being fed to all the men, and somehow I'm a man, I guess. But this stuff is like really just meant to divide us. Like, there's definitely cool people on all sides, and you all have to be really careful not to just fall into what they want and isolate yourself, because when you isolate yourself, you guys can't band together, and when you can't band together, they're gonna win. And blaming the other side does not stop any of this from happening. My mom would tell me stories about like in Cuba about how quickly it became people would just talk smack about the government and whatever happened. And then they would get really mad when, like, because they didn't do anything but talk smack when the totalitarian regime took over and communism took over. Then they had to be quiet, like the people who were the most outspoken about it, because they didn't really do anything other than talk. And that's not how things change. You can't be lazy and not care about what's going on in your local governments. I mean, if you've never called a congressman to complain about anything, if you've never called your local mayor, your local whatever city council about anything, if you haven't shown up to meetings, if you haven't like been one of those crazy people that you see on the memes like screaming at them, you got to be crazy, guys. You got to be crazy. If you don't want stuff to happen, you have to pay attention. And nobody is actually doing anything because you feel like complaining online or talking to your friends about something, complaining is changing culture. That's not how it happens. You got to actually leave your house and go do something, or at least get on the phones. I mean, if you hate talking on the phones, if you're like shy and introverted and you just don't want to do it, find a way to set up some AI to call for you and annoy these people and make sure they don't take away your rights, because eventually it's going to be like, oh, I don't think you're taking up too much carbon, Cindy. So I think we're going to shut down your credit card so that you can go out to pasture and just lay down and die in the sun. I mean, that's going to be how it ends. So, yes. And yes, Mama Cat did see some over there. She told me about how like they would train the kids in the schools to rat against their parents if they said anything against the government. Like they'd build statues of children, or like maybe they had like one token statue built for a child that like ratted on their parents, and then they of course killed the parents and then the child was paraded as a hero for the state, and they gave them accolades and whatever. And they're like, oh my God, look how wonderful this child is. And all the parents are like at home freaking out. By the time they're doing this to your kids or to your family members or whatever, it's too late, you guys. It's too late. It's still happening over there because it's too late once you let this happen. You're just going to have to shut up. And have you guys ever seen that Nomi Park woman from North Korea? She went on a few podcasts and she was saying, how come my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and all these people, how come they didn't tell us about what was going on? How come they didn't tell us this and that, whatever? But you have to understand, when it's already happened and you realize, like, you're the generation that let it happen, you could have called congressman. You could have organized something for your local cup. You could have said something. And now it's too late. It's already happened. You guys have no rights. There's starvation. They can take whatever you have. Nothing is yours. Everything belongs to the government. You only get it if they deem you worthy. And 7 generations are punished if you say anything against them. Once that happens, you got to keep your mouth shut, because now if you tell your children, your children's children, about what happened, now they know something that can put them in danger if they speak. And that's how it ends. So that's all I have for today, you guys, because I do have family in town and I need to rest. But we're going to be talking about Aubrey Marcus part 2, because when we were talking about like the spiritual guru narcissism, we're going to do a part 2, because the natural conclusion for what I said was going to happen actually happened. And it happened in only 2 months, which is wild. So we'll talk about how he screwed up his life by being a narcissist, and we will, I don't know, we will laugh at him because F around and find out, you guys. So I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful weekend and take care. Thank you all for being here. And if you guys can do me a solid, please watch some of my old videos that you haven't watched. Don't rewatch because it doesn't count. But if you haven't seen something, put it on in the background, even if it's on mute. I need watch hours. I am this close to getting monetized. It's only been like 5-10 years. I don't know. But I'm this close right now. So if you guys can please, it will be so sweet. So anyways, have a great weekend, guys. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye.
The old gods whisper tongues of sin. They crawl through culture to pull you in. Don't be for sale, don't wear their grin. The old are rotten, don't let them win. Eyes and nets and mirrored glass. They promised youth, they cursed your past. You drank the lie with ruby lips, but every toast is one.